Tonight on the Black Channel. It's been foretold here from this very microphone for over a year, and everything as we predicted is coming down just as we said it would. I think that this will go down as the week that Trump double-crossed Maga. And the Maga morons and idiots should have seen it coming. Of course, they don't. Simple-minded and stupid. And I think I got a number of different things I can show you here tonight, but probably the single biggest one here on your screen, Laura Loomer, white supremacist arch fiend, who her only beef with anybody, anywhere, is that they're not racist enough for her. So, Laura Loomer, as you can see here, I'm walking you through this so you understand what happened. Now, this tweet you see on your screen was her on Twitter, October 10th, 12:15 a.m. Everything's good. Life is good in America. She's attacking Tucker Carlson, another white supremacist, because, well, she's Jewish, so she's a Jewish white supremacist. She's upset with the Anglo white supremacists, so they go back and forth because hate is what they're based on. Now, you can see she says, Tucker Qatari-son continues to undermine President Trump. Listen to this next part now. He is now accusing Trump of betraying America. How low is too low for this kook? Listen to this. People, listen to this. Donald Trump is a gift to our country. We would have all suffered and our country would be over. Remember these words. Our country would be over if it were not for Donald Trump fighting for us in 2024. Our country would be over if it weren't for Trump. Remember those words. Donald Trump is the reason that the country is not over. The country is not over because of Donald Trump. All right, you got it. Tucker Carlson, you do not speak for MAGA. You do not speak for any decent American, as if she's one. You do not speak for me. You're not decent, and you're really not American. You do not speak for Trump, and you do not speak for our country. You betrayed our country when you name-popped up in Farah next to the words Qatar and Iran. Boy, she really doesn't like Qatar, does she? Oh, she really doesn't like Qatar. Well, it's a good thing that President Trump has protected her and the rest of the country, the white supremacists, from Qatar. It's a great thing that that's the case. So she's like, hey, sticking it to Qatar. She backs Trump because he sticks it to Qatar. And Trump's the only reason that the country is not in shambles because he's stuck it to Qatar. All right. Got it. Folks, I'm going to just roll up her timeline. You're going to see this as it unfolded. The very next tweet. Oh, she's tweeting Marco Rubio. Of course, they're doing their flagellation of Trump here because everybody has to serve the cult of personality or you're fired. They have to sit up here and ass kiss this pathetic old man. So she retweeted that. About the Nobel Peace Prize. Look at this, folks. She doubled down. Nobel Peace Prize. Imagine thinking a woman who cries nonstop about Nicolas Maduro has done more for the world than President Trump. What an absolute joke. Everyone knows President Trump deserves the Nobel Peace Prize. More affirmative action nonsense. So she is Team Trump all the damn way. Wait a minute. Wait a second. October 10th, 6:15 a.m. October 10th, 6:29 a.m. What? Oh, man. Wait a minute. What is this? Do my Humpty eyes deceive me? Oh, the very next tweet. A little over 10 minutes later. Here's what's happening. Okay, this thing there. She is upset She is upset about the Nobel Peace Prize. Okay, the thing there, it took away the thing about the tweet she was upset about. I'll come back to that in a moment there. She says, this is unfortunate. Our country has been totally co-opted by Qatar and the Muslim Brotherhood. Well, that didn't take very long now, did it? Unfortunate. Our country has been totally co-opted by Qatar and the Muslim Brotherhood. Maybe while they are here, we can ask them to stop letting Hamas leaders live in penthouses in Doha. Please ask them to stop funding jihadi clubs on college campuses too. That would be great. She's upset because, as you can see here, it's Secretary of Defense, is that Department of War, Pete Hegseth, is standing there with his Qatari counterpart as they declare that Qatar is going to have facilities on a U.S. military base in Idaho. What? Yes, sir. Qatar is basically going to be a joint Air Force base. So, oh man, they're going to have training facilities for the Qataris, specifically for the Qataris, on the American military base in America, on American soil. That's right. She was upset because, of course, Qatar, Trump has protected America from Qatar. We ain't going to have it. Forget Qatar. Trump makes it great. And then, just a little bit later, she says our country has been totally co-opted by Qatar and the Muslim Brotherhood. I'm going to slow walk this next one here for just a moment. Just a moment. Because I want this to sink into you here for a minute. About who exactly these people are and what exactly they are and what exactly they quote unquote stand for. And I use the word stand for advisedly. What exactly it is that they allegedly stand for. Because they don't stand for anything. It has just been a coalition of nefarious, skullduggerous, backstabbing, unprincipled barbarians. And of course, naturally, if they're given any amount of time, they're going to show their true colors and start stabbing each other in the back because that's what they do. It's the only thing that they do. They do not have principles. They do not have friends. They only have alliances, not allegiances, alliances for whatever their goals are in the moment. And then that's it. But they don't have principles. And this right here showed you exactly what it was. So on your screen is a still capture there, and we're going to come back to that. But she was very, very upset after seeing that. So by 10 o'clock in the morning, she's a brand new woman. And after that, she tried to keep it together. She attempted to keep it together a little bit longer. She goes back to the, Nobel Peace Prize thing. She tries to keep it together for Trump a little bit longer. Right after this post here, she tries to keep it together a little bit longer. But then she can't contain it anymore. What the hell is going on? Why are we trying to train more Muslims how to fly planes on U.S. soil? Didn't we already learn our lesson? Why are we encouraging more Islamic infiltration of our country by the founders of Hamas and the Muslim Brotherhood? This is very bad for our national security. Qatar is one of the largest funders of Islamic terror. Now they're being rewarded by getting a Qatari Air Force base in Idaho. This is outrageous. We are allowing the Islamic enemy to gain so much ground in our country. I will never support this. And brothers and sisters from around the world, this announcement that the Qataris who gave Trump a plane and have made a multi-billion-dollar deal with his family, by the way, this is payback for his family getting caked off. The Qataris said, we ain't got to fight you, we'll buy you. So his family's getting caked off to the tune of billions. And obviously, this is the reward. People, Laura Loomer went on a tirade on Twitter. She went on a nonstop fire hose of tweets after this happened. I'm not going to read them all because I can't read them all. There's too damn many of them. She just came unglued after this. But I am going to give you all some of the highlights. If the GOP continues to... Now, she's saying GOP. She's smart enough. She doesn't want to say Trump, even though this was his call. It wasn't Pete Hegseth. This is Trump's call. So she's threatening Trump indirectly. If the GOP continues to Islamify our country and continues to allow funders of Islamic terrorism from Qatar to come into our country when they have a documented history of funding Islamic terror, I am not voting in 2026 and won't be able to encourage others to vote either. Damn! Well, you know, somebody should tell all the bootlicks like Roland Martin, by the way, when you're talking about folks staying home and not voting, and y'all dummies is dummies. And take a look at what she says here. Wow, there must be some power to it. I didn't vote for the Islamification of my country. If the GOP is going to allow Muslims to have military bases on U.S. soil when they know these Qataris are funding Hamas and the Muslim Brotherhood, then voting in 2026 is a waste of time. And then she wanted to go real dirty here. She was like, let me post his words.
Qatar, unfortunately, the nation of Qatar, unfortunately, has historically been a funder of terrorism at a very high level. And in the wake of that...
Oh, she went back in the crates to 2017. Never thought I'd see Republicans give terror financing Muslims from Qatar a military base on U.S. soil so they can murder Americans. I don't think I'll be voting in 2026. I cannot in good conscience make any excuses for the harboring of jihadis. This is where I draw the line. So she went back to 2017 to throw Trump's words in his face. She doesn't have the courage or the spine to call him out by name. She's calling everybody else by name except the big boss. So just understand, cowards like her, this is as close as she can get to it, but she's showing how scared she is by October 10th at 11:17 a.m. She was back one more again at 11:22, people. What? 11:17 to 11:22. When I said she was nonstop, I meant nonstop. Now that the GOP, that was the other post right here, 10:53 a.m. Now the GOP has decided to literally harbor Islamic terrorists on U.S. soil. I don't really care about fighting for Republicans as much as I did yesterday. So she flipped that bad in just one day, people. You need friends like this? I have lost hope for 2026 and 2028, to be totally honest. What? It's like a light switch. The switch has been turned off just that quickly. She says she's done with 2026 and 2028. 11:25, people. Every 2 or 3 minutes, she was back on it. Do you see what I'm talking about? I think donors should stop wasting their money as well. Are you going to light your money on fire when our government is giving U.S. military bases to Qataris? Notice she said giving U.S. military bases. Save your money and buy a safe house for when the Muslims implement their caliphate. America will be done for. Now, notice she's saying in the future tense, America will be done for. I reminded you about this at the beginning when she said America would have been done for in 2024 if it weren't for Trump. 2025, she says America will be in the future done for. Keep these words in mind. You will see this again. I keep reminding you because I already knew it was going to happen. You're going to see this again. Oh, now she's back in all caps at 11:32. WTF is America first about allowing Qatar to have a military base on U.S. soil. This is from a person who is Israel first, but all right. This is an abomination. So much for Make America Safe Again by letting funders of Hamas and the Muslim Brotherhood have a military base on U.S. soil. As you can see, she has dropped the polite language. Oh, she's dropped the polite language. She dropped the polite language. What happened the last time we let Muslims learn how to fly planes on U.S. soil? Does anyone in the Trump administration know? Oh, boy. Oh, watch this one right here, people. Our great Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, my friend, has a tattoo on his body that says infidel. He, of all people, should know how bad of an idea it is to allow terror-financing Qataris who fund Hamas and the Muslim Brotherhood to have an Air Force base on U.S. soil. America was nice while it lasted. So, wow, we've been talking about Pete Hegseth and white supremacist symbology and crusader symbology, which is white supremacy. Now she's calling him out and she's pointing it out now. No, okay, so we weren't kooks or conspiracy theorists or overblowing things or reaching after all. Oh, she's calling it out now and saying he needs to stand by his infidel status. Oh, man. I mean, just left and right, folks. No foreign country should have a military base on U.S. soil. What about a foreign country dictating American policy on U.S. soil, Miss Loomer? How about that one? A lot of these folks with dual citizenships. How about that one? No? Okay. So as you can see, we are losing our country. We are. Now she kept spasming and kept spiraling. So it just keeps getting worse. It just keeps getting worse. So then she goes back to point this out again. She is really beating the drum about Trump and his words. Listen to this. The people of Idaho, all caps, need to revolt, all caps, against the creation of a Qatari air base in their state. This cannot stand. Every single politician in Idaho needs to be put on notice and told they won't get your vote unless they condemn the creation of a jihadi air base in Idaho. I'd be willing to temporarily move to Idaho to help spearhead this effort. People, I mean, this is by 12:28 p.m. By 12:28 p.m., she's talking about revolts and that she's willing to relocate. While we're at it, why don't we just give the CCP, Chinese, an air base and gain some gain-of-function labs on U.S. soil? LOL, might as well give them all the farmland, too. They're already buying it, so don't worry about that. So she keeps going here, 12:40 p.m. I mean, she's talking about Islam and Muhammad and child brides. By 12:44 p.m., she's calmed down a little bit. Maybe I'm overreacting about the Qatari pilots on U.S. soil. After all, the last time we allowed for Saudi pilots to be trained on U.S. soil, it worked out great for her, so she can't figure out which lies she's telling. She can't remember if it was Qatari pilots or Saudis on 9/11, so this is what happens when you're a feckless, shameless propagandist. You tell lies all the time. You can't even keep your lies straight when it's actually time to tell the truth. Oh, she is upset. She is upset. Oh, I don't know who told President Trump this would be a good idea, but it has made people not want to vote. She's not saying anything about the plane or all the money that he got from the Qataris. She knows about it, or his family's going to get. She knows about it, but she's too scared to say it because then it would be obvious. Hell, what did you expect? If she points that part out, all of this vitriol she's giving and all this venting would then look as stupid as it is. Oh man, y'all, she started at what, 6 in the morning? She started at 6 in the morning, and take a look at this by 1:17 p.m. Over the years, I have been very generous with my time and resources, helping Republicans get elected to office, probably too generous. As I get bombarded with requests for favors ahead of 2026 and 2028, I have decided I can't be so generous. Going forward, I will not be endorsing or supporting any candidate for office unless they do the following. All right, folks, Laura Loomer all it took was a few hours and she flipped the hell out, and now she's giving ultimatums as if she's got the power to do so. Plastic surgery is a hell of a drug. She's demanding of anybody who wants her support, you must call for a ban on Muslims holding office in the U.S. This is a Jewish female who's saying that she wants people to not be able to hold office based on their religion, which is, of course, completely unconstitutional. By the way, I mean, she knows this. I don't know how much meth she's doing in the trailer park, but by the way, you can't do that. The Constitution clearly spells out, you can't have a religious litmus test. What she's saying is that if she could have her totalitarian ethno-state, that's what you would do if you don't adhere to her religion. Call for the Muslim Brotherhood to be designated as a foreign terrorist organization. Call for the Trump administration to sign an executive order banning Sharia law, which would have no effect. Call for the creation of a nationwide ban on halal animal sacrifice on U.S. soil. Call for a federal ban on cousin marriage. She doesn't think this over much, does she? Baby, this one's not going to hurt who you think it will. This is going to actually hurt a group of folks a lot closer to you, by the way. And you don't want to get off into religions that allow for cousins to marry cousins, ma'am. You actually don't want to get into that. Oh, you're an unread, illiterate troglodyte, so never mind. I'll let somebody else tell her. Condemn Qatar for financing Hamas and the Muslim Brotherhood. Support banning the burqa and the hijab. People, she's saying that she wants to ban your clothing choices. What if you're a female who has converted to Islam? So what's up next? Is she going to say banning baseball caps and hoodies? What's next? What article of clothing is she going to say next? And while we're banning that, are we going to ban Jewish people for wearing those scarves that they do? Are we going to ban that? She doesn't really want to get into how Hasidic Jews dress. Are we going to ban the women who wear the Hasidic Jews, those Hasidic Jew headwear that they have? Is she going to insist on that too? Because that'll be next. Make female genital mutilation a federal felony. A Laura Lunkhead. Notice she uses the phrase female genital mutilation. She doesn't say female circumcision. If you're going to ban female circumcision, then you also need to ban so-called male circumcision, which was prompted by and created by those of the Jewish faith. So if we're going to ban circumcision, which I'm not saying is a bad idea, by the way. I'm not saying it's a bad idea, but by the way, this lunk-headed idiotic ignoramus doesn't understand she's describing her own religion. Down the line, she's describing specifically her religion, but she's saying, do it to them folks over there, but let us keep doing it here. So if you're not a politician who will give her preferential treatment to her religion, then she's not going to support you, which actually is a good thing for you. Ban all foreign military bases on U.S. soil. Support making it illegal to take your oath of office on the Quran. If you are not willing to do those things or publicly pledge to support those things, don't bother asking me for help. You're not worthy of my support unless you agree with everything listed above. People, the narcissism, the arrogance, the vanity. She's not elected to office. She's just a Twitterer. She's a Twitter twit telling elected officials that if they don't bow and do her bidding, that they're not worthy of her tweets.
Oh, please.
So she's going to hold elected officials hostage that they will not get the support of her tweets. Is this not the definition of a psychotic level of narcissism and vanity? This is arrogance at a clinically deranged level. But this is her list of demands. She's calling the primary people. We'll see how that goes. Look at this one here. President Trump is an amazing man. I proudly voted for him 3 times. But if he allows Islam to gain ground in our country, all of his hard work and sacrifices will be wiped out by genocidal Muslims who seek to impose Sharia law in America and destroy the West. Islam equals death cult. She's tipping closer to criticizing Trump, and we all know what happens when you do that. So, of course, she wants to hold a poll on her page. Oh, she's back to this video again. People, she is traumatized. Oh, she is traumatized. By the way, now she just calls on open white supremacy here. So what plans does the Department of War have to stop the inevitable construction of militarized Muslim Brotherhood mosques all over Idaho? All over Idaho to accommodate the animalistic Qatari terrorist invaders our government is now forcing upon the majority white Christian state of Idaho. So this is about white people. Well, then why should any of the rest of us rise up? I need all of you to rise up against the Muslims to make sure that the white Christians, all you non-white, non-Christian people, need to support Laura Loomer and her jihad. I know. All right. I'm just glad Idaho has so many Christian militias. I'm actually very happy about this. People, this is the talk of the powerless. This is the talk of the powerless. As you can see, she just went on and on and on. Oh, she just couldn't stop, people. She just went on and on. Oh, man. United States of Qatar. Allahu Akbar. Man, totally unhinged, people. Remember what I said to you all at the beginning when she said we would have been done for if it weren't for Trump? America will be done for. By the time she's gone basically through the 5 stages of white supremacy defeat. By 2:43 p.m., this is what she was saying. Y'all remember I kept saying over and over again, watch for those words. By 2:43, this is what it was. After today, I can truly say I don't have hope that Western civilization will survive. It would be nice if it would. But it's clear the GOP is okay with allowing the U.S. to become a Muslim country. We are an occupied country. I don't really think any grassroots effort by anyone is going to save the West from an Islamic takeover at this point. There's more to life than trying to save things that won't save itself. Well, I mean, as an Israeli. But by the way, wasn't she just calling for folks just a little bit before that to go jumping out the window at 1:52 p.m.? At 1:52 p.m., she was calling for armed white people in Idaho to go jumping out the window. By the time that she gets to 2:43 p.m., less than an hour later, she's saying there's no point in it. So when I say she was spiraling, when I say that she was tied in knots, less than an hour later, she's telling all the folks she just said that they need to fight for this, that there's no point. There's no point. No, I don't think any grassroots effort is going to help. Imagine following this psycho in the battle, thinking you were going to win. Now she's back to, now her whole thing is about Israel. So Miss America First, the woman, she says America First is a tool. She doesn't start talking about America First. She's talking about Israel. Notice how none of the anti-Israel bought and paid for accounts that we all suspected were paid for by Qatar are silent over the announcement today that Qatar is getting their own military base on U.S. soil. These people obsessively posted about how Israel controls our country and how Israel has too much influence, but they won't say a word about Qatar having a military base on our soil, all caps. Further evidence they are paid for by Qatar. Why am I the only one leading on this issue? Where are all these so-called America First accounts? Traitors! These conservative pundits sold our country out to genocidal Muslims as if that's a defense of Israel. By the way, nothing she said here proves is defends Israel, but all right. But she wants you to know, by the way, we're about those Qataris. We're about those Muslims. So she's upset also about the mayor of London. She's upset about that. So folks, I mean, she just kept spiraling. She just kept twisting. I did not vote for the U.S. to be, this is by 3:10 p.m., folks. When I tell you that she just went on an epic tear, an epic psychotic rant nonstop, that's what I meant. I did not vote for the U.S. to be turned into a Muslim country. I did not vote for jihadi ambassadors. I did not vote for Muslim coalitions in Michigan. I did not vote for Qatari lobbyists to work in the West Wing. I didn't vote for Sharia law. I'm not voting in 2026.
Oh, please.
People, she belongs in a rubber room. She has flipped insane. She belongs in a rubber. You can see a woman sitting at her therapist just spazzing out. I did not vote for the U.S. I did not vote for jihadis. I did not vote for Muslims. I did not vote for God. That's what she sounds like. That she would be in some mental health professional's office. That Kim Kardashian meme of Kim Kardashian crying. That's what it looks like right here. That she would just be bawling her eyes out. Desperate housewives just squealing. As if her not voting in 2026 is going to have any power. This tweet's not available, but she's hoping it would have been. This is what I voted for. This is what OG from a white supremacist female. All right. She hates black people, but okay. This is what OG MAGA looks like. Not this Qatari stuff. All right. She keeps calling out Trump. She's not doing it by name, but she's doing it by picture. Oh, Trump. The trip to the tanning salon was rough that day. America could have been so great. We worked so hard. Now we will be a Muslim country. This must be what hell feels like. So, folk, we went from Trump is the reason the country would have been done for. The country's not done for because of Trump. Now it is, and the country's done for. Oh, boy. She's back about 9/11. Oh, man. She's supposed to be talking about Chinese people, but she wants to let you know, don't forget about the Arabs. So we agreed to go to war for Qatar, and now we're letting them train pilots on the U.S. soil. The Qatari influence on the Trump administration is totally out of control. It has to be said. Folks, this is by 4:43 p.m. Not even 12 hours yet of mental vomiting. And she's saying the Qatari influence on the Trump administration is totally out of control. It has to be said. It's inappropriate to let Qataris have an Air Force base on U.S. soil. We're literally an Islamic country at this point. There's been no crackdown on any of the jihadists on U.S. soil. Maybe there never will be any crackdown either. 1 minute I'm watching Trump say Qatar funds terrorism, and the next minute they're on U.S. soil learning how to fly fighter jets so they can bomb us on our bases overseas. I didn't vote for that. I voted for an Islamic travel ban and a ban on Sharia law. It's sad. America could have been so great. Now, not so much. Not with all these Muslims running around. People, she's just coming unglued. Then she's going at Marjorie Taylor Greene. Marjorie Taylor Greene, who has apparently decided to strike it out on her own without Trump's support. We'll see how that goes. But you want further proof that MAGA is falling apart and that Trump has turned on them. So, further proof. Oh, man, she's still going on about it here, by the way, folks. And I'm not going to go through all of them. I'm just showing you what she did that day. This is just what she was doing that day. Not even going further than that. Ron DeSantis, who doesn't have a political career, so he can go ahead and act as stupid as he wants to. It's all over for him. 100%. Every single Republican should be calling out the threat of Islam. It's the biggest threat to our country along with the CCP. Okay, everybody can't be the damn enemy. Everybody's the enemy except what she supports. Okay. Oh, man, she's still upset about it. But I can't believe. How many times is she going to say, I can't believe? People, by 5:24 p.m., I think I popped a blood vessel in my eye today. Ah! Well, at least she's being honest. At least she's admitting she has a problem. At least she's admitting that she wigged the hell out. Folks, imagine making one post just to say this. She didn't even try to loop Trump or the Qataris or Muslims into this one. This is just a cry for help. Where the hell is her therapist, and where did she put her Lexapro and her Zoloft at? She came back to Twitter to cry for sympathy. I think I popped a blood vessel. I think a blood vessel popped in my eye today. Okay. Have y'all seen her eyes, by the way? So the surgeons didn't do a whole lot of help protecting those blood vessels. Not at all. She's upset and threatening the GOP, by the way. Muslims funded by Qatar deprived me of my free speech for over 5 years of my life. Not a single person has been held accountable for what happened to me. All right, so she's gone from caring about America to it's all about her. What happened to me? By the way, the blood vessel popping count, the engagement on that one, her engagement was 139K, and then about her whining about what happened to her, 130K. So I guess that's the hardcore following that cares about her personally. We have Sharia law in America, and I have been victimized by it. I want them out of my country. I want them to leave. I mean, she is just steady venting. Oh, she going nuts. Oh, she's going insane. Trump literally ordered this on September 25th. Why hasn't his administration complied with his order? He is the administration, ma'am. Nothing gets done without him, and nothing, if he says for it to get done, it better get done or else. Oh boy. She's upset some more. She just keeps going. Oh boy. Oh man. Yeah, buddy. So they were noticing it back on the 5th. It's like, okay, she better watch herself. You're walking the tightrope. Well, right after that, she wants to post about Puerto Rico right after that. So once folks let her know, by the way, we watching you. Now she wants to post about Puerto Rico. All right, back to the stuff again, y'all. Back to the grind. So she's back on them again. She's back bombing on them. What time was it by then? 7:05 p.m. So she spent the whole day tweeting. She just spent the whole day tweeting. She just went deranged and unhinged. Spent the whole day just tweeting about her weakness. This is what she felt she had to do. And here she is tagging Pete Hegseth. Will Qatari pilots be allowed to use test ranges? Are they going to be allowed to carry bombs while flying in the U.S.? We need an answer from the Trump administration on this. Doesn't Laura Loomer have Trump's phone number?
Damn!
Folks, hasn't she spent all these months bragging that she's got Trump's phone number? Remember when they wanted to bring Palestinian children over here that the Israelis bombed and crippled and for medical care? She bragged that, she made a tweet and the Trump administration said, we're gonna look into stopping that. Okay, well, she bragged about it then. She bragged, why are you all online? If you have the ability to talk to them, why are you relegated to being stuck off in the hinterlands of Twitter, raging into the night? She keeps posting the same stuff over and over again. This is like a girlfriend she's traumatized people. She's just going around and around in circles. But you said. Half of him fool with you like that. Oh, she's upset about the Chinese, and now she's compiling her indignation. Now she's compiling it. Oh, it is tough to be her. It is tough to be her, people. Tough as hell. She's just all over the place here. She doesn't know what to do. Oh, Trump left her out in the cold. Trump left her out in the cold. She kept going. It's 8:46 at night. People, do you understand the mentality you have to just keep do this all day? Can you imagine that? Does this look like a Christian to you? No, and neither do you. The Islamist turn in the Republican Party isn't consistent with America first. Okay. All right. It's really hard being a part of a party that doesn't want to see the truth. It's so hard. How much gaslighting becomes too much? That's what I find myself asking myself these days. Where do you draw the line for the sake of truth? It's hard to be inspired by any of this. Oh, she's upset. She's falling apart. Folks, on into the night. Do you see this? On into the night. Y'all saw where she started 6 a.m. On into the night. She just kept going. She just kept going. I go to sleep tonight. She goes to sleep tonight. So she kept going till right after midnight, her time. I go to sleep tonight knowing I will sleep without guilt while the entire GOP is too afraid to call out the Qatar insanity. It must suck being so weak and pathetic as a U.S. congressman that you can't bring yourself to call out the uncouth nature of rubbing elbows with jihadists in suits. For as much as I have been ostracized and made to suffer. Boy, people, the conceit. She She considers herself to be a geopolitical global player for as much as I have been ostracized and made to suffer for speaking truth over the years. At least I know that I always spoke up when it mattered most. I never sold out, and I never let anyone pressure me into going along to get along. I don't have any guilt for anything. Sometimes I wonder if our reps in Congress feel guilty for being failures. Oh, so you see, you failed Laura. You failed Laura Loomer. So she said that she was getting ready to go to sleep. I'm glad to see that. How long was she out? Looked like she was out for a good 30 minutes, and then she back at it. This is a scary picture. This looks like something from a Tim Burton film.
What?
Oh, man. You hear this? I hear no gnashing of teeth regarding Laura Loomer's announcement that she's leaving the party of Lincoln and Trump. Oh, man. Oh, boy. What has the GOP ever done for me, Roger? Didn't she just say that it sucks being part of a party? Now she's saying, what has the GOP ever done for her? What did the GOP ever do for you? They sat back and let you get raided and refused to help you when you were raided. The GOP has done nothing for me. My focus has been on the people and Maga. Well, Trump is the one who did it. All right here, folks. So this is clean into the next day, by the way. So just letting you know that she flipped the hell out. Oh, she came unglued. She came unhinged. It was just a sad parade of things. It really, really was. It really, really was a sad parade of things. If you'll all remember from this very microphone, I was calling all of this out way back when. I told you these are unscrupulous bastards of no character whatsoever. They're only going to be doing what is in their own personal interest. They're like, it's like a strip club.
What?
The Republican MAGA is like a strip club. You've never been to a strip club where the strippers were friends. They all have a similar uniting interest, but they don't like each other. They're not friends. They don't look out for each other. They're all predators. They're all predators. And here she is, angry and upset because everybody's in the strip club. Everybody's in the strip club now. And so they're all just looking out for each other. And that's it. That's all. If y'all want to know what it really is, it's a strip club. And they are all the hoes. And he's the pimp running it. And they're all sitting up here trying to get whatever they can snatch off the table, but they have no scruples and they have no principles. And they were all looking to see who could rob the bank first to get what they wanted. And then, next thing you know, they found out that in Trump's world, all of you are the pawns here to serve his interests. And now he's cashing you out. Now he's cashing you out. So that's the lesson that they're going to learn here today. Well, folks, we got more to show you where this came from. We got more to show you where this has been emanating from. MAGA is boiling over. Trump has stabbed him in the back. They can't deny it now. Basically, you just have to admit that you don't back America first. You back Trump first. And that's it, suckers. He doesn't have to worry about getting reelected. And he doesn't give a damn what happens to any of you after he leaves office. They gonna be all the way straight. Before we do that, we're going to take a very brief commercial non-commercial break. However, I'm looking to have my man Marcel Dixon I want to get him up here in a few moments. I got him on Zoom, so Marcel, sit tight here for a moment. We're going to go ahead and see that. Get him on the line. We got a few things we're going to go ahead and chop that up about as well. So all of y'all just hang tight while we get that together. Before we do, I want to thank everyone, and I do mean everybody who has contributed to support tonight's program on PayPal, Super Chat, Venmo. Shout out to my man Erwin Davis. Thank you very much for your support tonight. We appreciate that. To my man Mr. Richburg, thank you very much here, sir. To Clinton, to Keenan, thank you very much for your support here. My man Lorenzo's been giving out memberships, the gift that keeps on giving. We appreciate that as well. We're going to take a very brief commercial, non-commercial break here. When we come back, I'll see about getting Brother Marcel up here, and we'll take your calls as well. This is the Black Channel.
Be the teacher, knowledge on the block. Got the kids learning, minds open like a lock. Books and skills from the east to the west. Bringing education, yeah, we're simply the best. Classes on fire, brains burning with desire. Innovation driving like a tire through the mire. Math, science, history, we got the whole range. Kids hitting new heights, teachers making a change. Used to be the teacher, stacking up the grades. Future bright shining, no need for no shades. Got the youth thriving, moving up the ladder. Smart and sharp, brains growing fatter. Lessons so lit, yeah, they stay in a blaze. Every mind sharp like a sword in the haze. Mr. B in the house breaking knowledge chains. Education kingpin, we repping the gains. Used to be the teacher.
Order yours today to experience all the benefits of Ash Kickin' Body Butter. With skin so smooth and soft, you'll thank us for it. Shop Ash Kickin' online. That's ASHKICKIN.com.
Hi, this is Brenda Starr, creator of Poetry with a Purpose and author of the book Pressed But Not Crushed. Pressed But Not Crushed is an anthology of political poems that address current and historical issues in American descendants of slave population and African American population. The book describes slaveries and its residuals, Jim Crow segregation, social depredation, and other relevant issues to American descendants of slaves and African Americans, including the current political climate that does not address our issues.
This is the Black Channel. I am your host, your brother, your humble servant, the Black Authority. Very glad to be with you all here this evening. And we got some housekeeping we need to do here for a moment. So let me see if I can get my man Marcel Dixon up here on Zoom for me right quick. Brother Marcel, welcome back to the Black Channel.
Hello, Jason. Thank you for having me back.
All right, brother. Well, I brought you up here because recently there's been a little bit of news regarding you and everything here. You got an effort that's going on right now. So why don't you go ahead and tell everybody what's going on?
Well, in 2022, when about a couple of months or more than a couple of months after I launched my campaign for office, of course, I taught at a school called Royal Live Oaks Academy in Hardyville, South Carolina. I had a successful career there. I was the school teacher of the year, district teacher of the year, academic coach of the year. I had won bonus money because of my students' test scores every year. That's why they made me academic coach. And things started to change. In 2020, really, when I started speaking out about racial justice, when I launched my campaign for office, things really escalated. And long story short, we were at a workshop and the presenter asked me what motivated me, because she was asking all teachers that question. She selected me from the crowd. I was one of many teachers. And I said, justice. And I said, specifically justice for everyone, but especially for Black Americans. Well, a week after that, my director called me to a meeting, and long story short, she said when I spoke like that, it made me appear to be the angry Black man. That kind of caught me off guard. Well, fast forward about 4 months later in May, I had yet to receive a contract, and usually I'm the first person she would invite back to teach at her school. I had not received the contract. I kind of felt she was not going to invite me back, but she called me to a meeting in May, and she said that she would not be inviting me back. And she said at one point, I had spoken about you being an angry black man. So I launched a lawsuit against her, and it has really taken off. Now it may very well head to trial. The lawsuit has been in court for some time, but now it's probably going to head to trial. So I'm trying to raise money so I can stay fighting this lawsuit until the end come with me.
Okay, and the person who said that to you, was she black? Was she white?
She's white. Her name's Dr. Karen Wick. She's white.
Okay, and she told you that she had an issue with you being an angry black man.
She said that she had mentioned at one point me being an angry black man, and then she proceeded to tell me that she would not invite me back because she did not want that anger at her school. And she acknowledged at that meeting that my test scores were among the highest. She acknowledged at that meeting that I had accomplished many, many, many good things, but she kept going back to my anger. And, that really was not what it was about. She was trying to clean up the fact that she brought up the real reason that I was a black man. And I think my politics, I think my activities outside of school advocating for Black Americans, so Freeman Foundation Black Americans, I think that was really getting to her and she couldn't hold it in any longer. She started treating me differently in 2020, but I think she cannot hold it in any longer. It slipped out in January 2022 when she said my words made me appear to be the angry black man. And then it came out again just 4 months later in May when she said that she had already spoken about me being an angry black man. And I have these recorded. It's already been submitted to the court.
Awkward. Well,
very awkward.
We'll see if people, folks love to lie until you can play their words back for them. And I've been doing this now going on 20 years. People love to lie till you play their words back for them, and then they either get really, really quiet or they spaz out. Shout out Laura Loomer. Let me ask you a couple of details about that then, Marcel, if you know. If you know, you can maybe get some details. I mean, is there a prohibition against a teacher running for political office?
No, there's not.
Okay, that's the first thing. And of course, how do you run for office if you don't have a campaign platform or something? So, did you bring your politics to school or something?
I did not. And at that meeting, the teacher was asking people what motivated them. She selected me. I did not volunteer. And I told them justice. It was not the first time I brought up that justice is a motivating factor for me. It was not the first time I brought up that justice, especially for Black Americans. And that's not unusual because at that school, we have and still have many, many teachers who are of Hispanic ethnicity, and they all the time talk about how they advocate for the Hispanic students. Dr. Karen Wicks and Brian Morse, who are the two directors of that school, they even at one point told us during a meeting that if we want to see our scores increase, that we ought to focus on the Hispanic population. And I raised my hand and I counted. I was like, hey, what about the other kids? What about the Black American kids who are the kids whose data you use to start this school? So it was not unusual for teachers to mention advocacy for everyone, not to neglect any particular population, but specifically for population that have been historically neglected. And you, Jason, know, as I know, no group has been neglected or as oppressed as much as Black Americans, foundational Black Americans have been.
Yeah, that's the thing right there, especially, even in you're in South Carolina and there's been a very large influx of Latinos that moved in and whatnot. When they have the celebrations and stuff, you're starting to see the flags all over the place and things like that. So that I don't see anybody trying to put the kibosh on that like that. So,
and I mentioned that to her when we had the first meeting, and it was about my comment. I said to her, I have never felt uncomfortable doing Hispanic Heritage Month, ever, never, ever. I said if someone felt uncomfortable with me saying that justice is a motivating factor, and I said justice for all, I predicated my words with justice for all, but I said especially for Black Americans, foundational Black Americans, then that's the problem with them. I make no apologies, and I did not apologize, and I did not back down either. And I said, if I am angry, I said, anger can be a motivating force for good. And I went through my history with the school. I talked about how when other teachers, their students, 30% of their students were meeting or exceeding the state standard, I had 82% of my students meeting or exceeding the state standard. When other teachers had, 30, 40, 50% of their kids meeting or exceeding the state standard, I had 76% of my students meeting or exceeding the state standard. I say when my kids went to competitions such as Model United Nations, where I had never heard of before, and we were going against schools who had a scholastic tradition, and they had been taking their students there for 40 years. They had multiple coaches. Here I came along. My first year, I'm the only coach. I was brand new to this. My team was always the blackest team with the least experience, going against 30 schools, private schools, very affluent schools with a lot of white and Asian students. We would come back to second place, only underperforming one school. I said, so my anger had been a motivating force for good. But see, when she said angry black man, she wasn't looking at indignation, which is a righteous cause for anger. She was invoking a nasty, ugly stereotype of a passionate black man being a threat, being a brute. And that's exactly the argument I'm going to make in court.
I'm wondering if you can be the angry Christian. Can you be the angry Republican? Are the angry at Maga? I'm just wondering, where are the other angry people at here?
You know, what's funny is that she talks about how she started that school because she wanted to make a difference. Well, I was motivated to make a difference as well. And she considers herself a Christian. And, the Bible speaks of even Jesus Christ being angry and running out the people who were doing commerce in the temple. Did that make him a threat?
Yeah, that would be that'd be real sticky for you to try to hold up there when you see that. Because my point about that is that also, what does that say about, for example, political activism? That's the kind of thing. All these MAGA folk are always complaining about. Oh, folks they don't want our freedom of speech and they don't like our politics and we're oppressed and persecuted and whatnot. Okay, well, what does this do for political activism when this kind of thing happens? And it's not, you didn't even bring it to school or anything. It'd be different if you were at the school handing out flyers or something, or if you were acting a fool or something. It's just like, okay, you kept that completely separated. So how is that still an issue?
Well, their argument is that I had poor relationships with the parents of my students and my students. That's a lie. I always did, since 2017, anonymous student surveys every single year. I've done it anonymous, meaning I've given my students the opportunity to evaluate me, something no other teacher would dare do. Because imagine giving students, especially me being admittedly, what people would consider a strict teacher, that's how I was structured. And every single year, 90% or more of my students gave me the highest approval rating. My last year there, when I administered that survey, in the winter of 2021 and 2022, it was like either late December, early January, 76% of my students gave me their highest approval rating. The school has a metric of 75, which they have never met. I have met it. I've exceeded it. In spring of 2022, it had risen to 90.6%. So you're speaking for the students, saying I have poor relations with them, but the students are telling you differently. I had a copious amount, and I kept it for my records. I submitted it to the court as well, of parents who praised me for my work with their students, who were heartbroken to hear I will not be returning to the school. So they're pretty much now trying to justify and try to find some other reason why they're not inviting me back. They try to put me on an improvement plan. This is all public records. I can say it to you. And they rescinded the improvement plan. And the only issue they can find was that I was loud, and my loud voice intimidated some students. So I said to them, so if I was whispering, but kids were not learning, would that be okay? So they were trying to paint me as the angry black man. So it's not just the words she said, it's that she was trying to paint me as an angry black man. Everything she did was pretextual.
I want to toss this up on the screen right quick so everybody can see this. This is from the NEA, in case you all didn't know. This is from the NEA. This is not out of turn or out of school or anything else here. This is what they have on the NEA website. Should you run for public office? Yes, you should. It's time educators had a more expansive role in shaping the policies and legislation that impact our students and public schools. This is from the NEA. Straight from them. This is not from Jason Black. This is not from Marcel Dixon. This is from the NEA. So if anybody wonders about whether or not, well, I'm not sure if you. This is not a teacher who's got an OnlyFans, although there's some questions about whether or not that should be penalized either. I don't want to start that conversation. But this is not the teacher who's in Hustler magazine or something. And after, having a stellar career, folks will find out it's like, oh, wait a minute now. The fathers recognized you more before the students did. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about for just straight running for office. Something that I'm just showing you all the facts. I'm not bringing you receipts. I brought invoices. This is what they are advocating for. They're advocating for that. Okay, and then somebody does it. And then they want to say, oh, wait, no. Not what you're doing. Not what you're doing. Now that, to me, that smacks of intimidation. To me. That smacks of intimidation right there. That's not what I'm looking for.
And to prove it, she called me in when it was announced in a local newspaper that I was running for office. She called me in and asked me that I consider the impact it would have on the school and her students. So she never liked me running for office, but she didn't like my platform the most, because then I was questioned about my patriotism at one point. So there were a lot of passive aggressive things that were happening. And like I said, it really started in 2020 when I advocated for Black history to become mandatory in South Carolina. And I sent an email to the CEO of our school district, but I did it on my own time. I did not do it during the school's time. And I was looking for help. I wrote state reps. I wrote state senators. I wrote federal elected representatives, Clyburn. He would ignore me. And that's one of the things that will lead to me eventually running for federal office. And I wrote the head of school districts, hoping that someone would lend me their support. Immediately, when I returned to school, they called me into a meeting and said, well, why would I do that? How about just do things here after school? And I told them I appreciated that offer, but, I have discovered my voice and I plan to use it more. So I continued advocating, trying to make Black history more mandatory in South Carolina, being that's one of the blackest states. Eventually, I had a meeting with the deputy superintendent and the public relations officer of the South Carolina Department of Education, and they included some of my suggestions in the social studies standards for the state of South Carolina. So it wasn't quite what I was looking for, but I was able to make some sort of systemic change. I was proud of myself, and that actually encouraged me eventually to make the decision to run for office. But they wanted me to stop, and they did all kinds of things that I don't want to reveal now from 2020. But like I said, once I announced I was running for office, oh man, it escalated, and it escalated real quick as well.
I'm just curious, does your school have one of those turning point chapters in it?
No, not yet, at least.
Okay, because I thought that's what they were all about, promoting and things like that. And I thought that's what all of that was about. So everybody's fine with it right up until we decide, hey, we got something to say. Then all of a sudden, say less. So that's the environment that we're in here. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to have my mods post up the link there to your GoFundMe so that folks can go ahead and get involved with that. I think this kind of stuff here is important, especially under these circumstances right here, because this is what they try to do to Black folk. There hasn't been anything outrageous. We got folk out here giving, in schools, by the way, in Florida, they are preaching PragerU. That's straight white supremacy. Even if you don't want to just define it as white supremacy, as an educator, Marcel, anybody who tries to diminish or redefine slavery, that's assaulting education.
Yes, it is.
Even if we move Black folk out of the frame of it, that's anti-education. That's anti-education. You're not even corrupting it here. You're just outright lying. You can't educate somebody by saying, okay, we're going to make up our own comic book history and tell you this is what it is. When you try to minimize that, when folks start calling slavery immigration, doing things like that is not at all, that's the kind of stuff you got in the schools and the curriculum. And principals and teachers and whatnot sitting up here promoting that. You're not doing anything even close to that. Not even remotely close to that. So this is what they're putting in the schools. Otherwise, that's legit. That's okay. And what you're saying, which is just fact-based and nothing radical or extreme or anything like that. It's just, this is very, very fact-based. I guess what they're showing is this is what we got a problem with justice. Yeah, we do have a problem with that. We got a huge problem with that. I think that this is something I want everybody here to get involved with, including myself, because I want us to understand. I want us to show people that we support efforts like this. That nobody else is going to take care of this. I want us to support efforts like this because this kind of thing sends a message to people. Because you said it's going to trial. I don't know if you had discovery yet or anything like that.
Yes, we've had discovery. I've been doing this myself, Jason. It's a long story, but eventually I have Legal Shield, which is a service that's supposed to provide legal services. You pay a monthly fee, and I thought they would be able to help me. Well, they recommended me to a lawyer, it was a white lawyer, and he knew nothing of the case. I just gave a brief synopsis. Right away, he said, I know it's not going to prevail. They recommended me to another firm, a firm with many white lawyers. Oh, it's not going to prevail. And I asked them, what do you mean? They said it'll get thrown out as a result of the first motion to dismiss. I've defeated several motions to dismiss. I went to mediation. Then they did a motion for a summary of judgment. For those who don't know, a summary of judgment is pretty much where they say, okay, we've gone through discovery. We have the evidence. There's not enough evidence to say to prove illegality. I defeated them with the summary of judgment. So yes, we've gone through all of that. Now we are at the point where we are responding to the judge's report and recommendation. The magistrate judge sided with me that their motion for a summary of judgment has been denied, and now it will proceed to trial. Now they are objecting to the magistrate judge's report and recommendation. I made an objection of my own, even though the judge ultimately sided with me. But some of the things that she had listed as facts are not facts. I had to submit a sworn declaration. I did that. And now it may very well go to trial. And I'm prepared for that. Come what may, I'm prepared for that. It has been a long, emotional journey. But, after this happened, I was so traumatized, I couldn't even look at a school building, couldn't even enter one. When I got my next teaching job, I had my psychiatrist write a letter for me to be accommodated. I could only teach online. I couldn't even go back into the building. I'm now back teaching in person, and I was at a school that I loved last year, but unfortunately the school went private and they couldn't pay me a livable wage. And now I'm at another school that I love and enjoy. But it was traumatizing. And that's why I absolutely refuse to let this go without any accountability. So come what may, I want to see this through to the end. And that's why I'm asking for everyone's assistance.
Well, brothers and sisters, we got the link up in the chat room there. I'm going to have my mods posted a couple more times here also. I wanted to touch bases with you about that. This is the kind of thing right here. You got these legal funds. I'm going to just comment on this briefly, people. It makes me a little bit flustered to talk about this. But you got these legal funds out here. You got Ed Blum. You got people sitting here filing lawsuits to penalize us on anything and everything. Everything's a full court press. You don't see any schools sticking up for that whatsoever. You don't see anybody doing anything about that. You see all these legal funds out here dedicated to doing that, and we don't have one. We don't have one. And that's why people feel emboldened to run the tables and test the waters like this. We are lacking that among our people to have that. We are lacking that among our people to have that, and for that to be in place. If they knew that we had our own legal apparatus in place against that kind of stuff, like other groups do, they wouldn't try it in the first place. If they knew that, if they absolutely knew that, yeah, if you do that, you're going to get a letter from a lawyer right after that, they wouldn't try it. But they're trying it because everybody knows usually they get away with it. Let's just say it like it is. Usually they get away with it. And in your case, if you're left to the mercy of a legal establishment that's already hostile to you, like I say, I look, you know me, Marcel. I've been banging on that big drum now for years. This particularly where our legal class is concerned. It's nice. I mean, it's okay to have a slip and fall lawyer, I suppose. I mean, I guess everybody needs a personal injury lawyer, but this is not this kind of case right here. This is the kind of stuff that they're, taking generational wealth and disenfranchising people. This kind of stuff right here is where it happens. And we don't have the type of defense and representation we need. And so you end up having to sit up here and go hat in hand to folks who are on their side. And that's the problem. I've had a problem with it. I continue to have a problem with it. It is absolutely scandalous. And those are the results. But I'm glad that you pressed the issue on it, at least to show that, by the way, if them folk, I don't think that reflects well on their legal expertise. If they all, first motion to dismiss is going to get kicked out. Okay, well, several motions to dismiss and it's still standing. Now what? How now, brown cow? Okay, were you saying that because of your staunch expert legal mind, or were you saying that because you're ideologically against this?
Exactly. They feel that's just a Tuesday in America, and that's the type of treatment we're supposed to tolerate. That's how I took it, because they did not even ask what evidence I may have. They didn't even ask for anything besides a brief synopsis. It was probably all but one sentence, and they came back right away with that, because that's how they feel we're supposed to be treated. And that's what they're used to hearing and used to us tolerating. Well, I'm not going to tolerate it. There were other teachers who had grounds for a lawsuit, but they never went forward with it, because that's what happens. Most people are a lot of talk. 90% of people will never go forward with this type of litigation. What I did.
They bet against the odds. Always bet on the right odds, people. Bet on the right odds. Well, Brother Marcel, we posted the link in the chat room here. I want to encourage everybody to go by there and whatnot. Just drop a little something into it. Show your support for this here, because all of us have been through this kind of situation. Every black person listening here has been through this exact situation right here. You're last hired, first fired, always frequently getting terminated for anything and everything. Everybody else is bouncing off the walls, but you better walk the line. All of us have been through this situation, every single one of us as adult black people. Most of you have been through it several times. And usually you got to sit up there and tolerate it. So if we got one brother here in our midst that we can help to fight back against that, we owe it to set a precedent. Here. So, brother, we posted the link to it here. I'm encouraging everybody to go ahead and hit you up for it. And we're going to keep monitoring how things go with you.
Thank you so much, Jason. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much for joining, Brother Marcel. We'll be in touch. Yeah, like I say, I mean, people, this is what happens with us, man. You want to talk about systemic racism? This is what happens with us. Other groups of people, they make sure they got theirs together. People, I'm talking about, the illegal aliens, they got legal support. I mean, the killing thing for the illegals is that they got black lawyers. I mean, man, you got black lawyers out there lined up, throwing their capes on, and we're here to defend the illegals. Make sure nobody does anything to them. Okay, but meanwhile, you got black folk getting put through the ringer at the job and everything every day. Where are those lawyers for that? Okay, where are them dudes at when we need something? Because, I mean, they are straight pro bono. We already did that program. I showed y'all a couple of them black lawyers. You can go on Twitter and find them. About you got black lawyers sitting up here stomping for them. I want y'all to understand that. When we need something, nobody's answering anything. For these other folk, they show up just straight pro bono. And what I'm saying is that, do you realize what that's done? I'm talking about fighting the president of the United States. What? I'm not talking about fighting a school district. I'm not talking about fighting a mayor. These are folks lined up to fight the Department of Homeland Security, to fight the Justice Department. but ain't never showed up for us for anything. We can't find them. We can't find them for a lawsuit against the mayor, and yet there they are against the president for a random illegal alien, and they ready to go hammer and tong. Oh, don't worry, we got you. They didn't even know. They don't know who you are. They didn't even ask for you. There you are, and you're coming up the driveway. So this is how they do us. But a lot of folks don't understand things. A lot of folks don't understand things, but they are going to understand them by the by, especially when we have warned them of what's coming, what was coming. We have warned them of what it was. A lot of them didn't pay attention to it or didn't take the threat seriously. And that includes a good number of people in the military. Oh, there were some folks in the military and whatnot. Oh, they think they were safe. They thought they were secure. They thought they could get their disability. They figured, don't worry, we all right. And now we're seeing a scene that looks very, very familiar. You see, for those of us who remember 9/11, who were old enough to be there when 9/11 happened, we remember seeing it when the shooting actually started. You started seeing a whole bunch of military folks at the food banks. This happens pretty much every time that the shooting starts. In this case, now the shooting that started is the government shutting down. And what do you know here, folks? This is what's going on.
As I take a step aside here, there is quite a bit of military members and their families in line because of this government shutdown. We're in day 9 of it, and they're here for a food pantry. There's all sorts of food that is available, and I spoke with some military member spouses, and I spoke with some department heads here at the ASYMCA on why this is so important.
Wanted to go back here and show you. You take a look at the demographics. You take a look at the demographics. When you see the demographics there, what does that tell you, man? What does that tell you? I see the demographics here, and I'm like, yeah, I'm just wondering. I'm just wondering how many of them voted for Trump. I'm just wondering how many of them voted for Trump. How many of them voted for him and don't worry, he got us and we good? And how many of them did? I'm wondering. By the way, folks, this is not new. This happens all the time. I need y'all to understand this. Every time the shooting starts, this happens. They get lined up, and I'm just wondering how many of them voted for it. How many of them voted for it and thought, oh, don't worry, I'll be okay. We'll be all right. They're going to look out for us. Okay. I got a feeling at least a few of them in this group right here is Trump letting you know how it goes down for him. Ain't got time to look out for you, man. His family getting caked off to the tune of billions. They got their billions. Whatever you don't get, that's tough on you, Slappy. And so when I take a look at this situation right here, I just can't help but wonder. I just can't help but wonder, by the way, how many of you standing in line there, how many of you voted for this? How many of you voted for this? How many of you standing in line there, you thought this was a great idea? You can't even say that you didn't vote at all. How many of you there, you can't even say you didn't vote. You actually got out there and voted for it. Now what? These folks didn't think about it, people. They didn't think it over. They just went off of what they were feeling. And you got to understand here, that's always been the great crime and the great fallacy of it. Telling yourself that you're on the inside. Telling yourself that you're on the inside. Telling yourself that if you look out for the billionaires, they'll look out for you. Or at the very least, well, if you look out for the billionaires, they will make sure that you, even if you are the poorest white man, that you will still be higher on the ladder than the richest black man. And then one day you're standing in the food bank line. And I'm just wondering, do you feel like the most privileged person at the soup kitchen? Do you feel like the most privileged person at the food bank? I'm just wondering, asking for a friend. Asking for a friend. Do you still feel like you're better than everybody else and that they've upheld their end of the bargain as you are the most privileged person at the food bank? I'm just wondering. Maybe you are. If you all want to go ahead and weigh in on this, the link to the Zoom is pinned at the top of the chat room. If you all would like to weigh in, the link to the Zoom is pinned to the top of the chat room. And you are more than welcome to go ahead and join us. If you'd like to go ahead and weigh in on that. In the meantime, shout out here to Brother Tahuti for contributing to tonight's program. We appreciate that. Larry's Anything Goes LLC, Nubia Gold, Flex, Pam Greer. What? I'm a little skeptical about this one here. Pamela Greer, I'm like, I don't know if that's the same Pamela Greer, but regardless, thank you very much for supporting the program here tonight as well. I have these programs here, people, because I document these things as we go along. It might seem like it's academic. It might seem like it's a bit trivial, but it's not. Remember, before Trump came into office, it is necessary for us to qualify why it is that we are the black media. Anybody can tell you what has been. Some folk can tell you what's going on, but can they accurately, with precision, predict what is going to happen as a result of certain decisions and certain choices? And if you all will remember, I was beating the drum with a sledgehammer when I told you all that MAGA was going to turn on each other just as soon as Trump won the election. They were all, when that huddle you see over there is all of them collectively getting together and sharpening their knives. And while they tell themselves that they're going to go at black folk and they tell themselves they're going to go at the Democrats, in reality, now that you've given these immature pustules power, what they got going to use their power for is to go at each other. Vivek Ramaswamy had the ignominy. Look it up. Vivek Ramaswamy had the absolute embarrassment of being the first one voted off the island. And he been real quiet ever since now, hasn't he? Oh, Vivek been real quiet. He's trying to run for governor and got real quiet since then, since they let him know that, by the way, you're on the outside. You're on the outside. So he got kicked off, and I told you all that Elon and Trump, I said it specifically, do you think these two billionaires going to get along? Trump don't get along with anybody. And I didn't mean that they were just going to have a slight tiff. What they did on Twitter, that was exactly what I predicted was going to occur. It was going to be a nuclear level World War III meltdown. And that's exactly what it was. It wasn't some polite thing where Elon just walks away quietly. I told you all it was going to be a knockdown, drag out, public fat spat. And that's exactly what it was. Because team reflects leadership. And the leadership of the team is an out of control, narcissistic, temperamental, spoiled brat. And now he encourages and emboldens everyone else to mimic his behavior, because if he's the parent in the home, he allows everyone to act like a bunch of temperamental, immature, juvenile delinquents throwing their food across the table. That's what he has enabled. That's the tone that he has set for his followers. And now they mimic it. Nobody has a quiet anything. When they get together, it's all going at each other. And when they start falling apart, they do that publicly too. All right, let's go ahead and jump over here on Zoom right quick here. Let me get my man Superpower Media up here on Zoom. All right, Superpower, what's on your mind?
Jason, you said it. You said it before the election was even over with. They was going to turn on each other. And if white people would only watch the new black media, they would have voted a different way. Because you said it, and you was right. And the optic of this, man, you got the military guys. They at the getting food, man, in a military uniforms. Can you imagine that, you fighting for this country, and you got to go stand in a soup line, man? That's embarrassing. That's disgraceful. It doesn't get no worse than that. But at the same time,
brother, I feel a little bit different about that. I mean, I'm never going to shame anybody for doing what they got to do, especially if they need it. And that's one thing if you don't need it. The only thing that would make me feel bad about it is if he didn't need it, because you're taking from somebody else who does. So that part in particular is not the thing I have a real issue with. My issue is, by the way, did you ask for this? Did you think that you were going to put somebody else in this line and you ended up in it? That's the part I'm looking at. Is, by the way, how many of you thought you were undermining somebody else and you ended up voting to put yourself here? You thought you were voting to put somebody else here, and now we find out you actually were voting to put yourself here. Now, that's the thing I'm looking at.
Right. Well, I look at the Pentagon. The Pentagon got so much money, man. None of them guys should be standing in line for
there's nothing for you. We're giving it all to Qatar, Northrop Grumman, Lockheed Martin, Bell Helicopters, Oshkosh. That's where your food bank money went. We gotta make sure that them fat cats have a fifth home in Maui. We gotta make sure they papered up. And Elon needs another mega yacht.
Right. And one thing about white supremacists, I'm so glad that everybody's getting hit upside the head with it. Black folks, we sitting in the cut like we warned everybody years ago. Nobody will listen. So now everybody's getting a taste of this white supremacy that we've been getting a taste of for centuries, man. So I'm sitting back, black people sitting back like, yeah, go ahead and get a taste of it, because we've been warning people, we've been warning every culture, but everybody thought, well, no, it's just going to be black people. No, with Trump, he don't give a damn who it is. It's all about him and his family, and that's it. And Vivek, man, he went to that Turning Point meeting, man. They dogged him like a dog out there, man. Told him you'll never be the governor because of your religion. So he's getting he just keep taking it upside the head, man. And only thing I tell white people, man, hey, get used to it. It's going to continue to happen to you.
Look, they really did think that they were signing up for this, though, to be totally honest. A lot of them understood, okay, well, it's going to cost us a little bit here, but as long as you sock it to them Negroes over there, we're cool. They never did think that he had no regard for anybody except himself. He has no regard even for those of you who follow him. That all of you are disposable. You are only useful to the extent that you can get him into power. Now that he's in power, he's not looking out for you. He's looking out for himself. And what about all the people who enabled him? Oh, you're expendable. All of you are expendable and disposable. As a matter of fact, you should be thrilled to be expendable and disposable because you serve me. They didn't think that it was really that deep. Now they're finding out it is. It's like, oh, it's too late now. You've already empowered them. Now that you can't take it away now. You fought to get him in there, and now he's there. Oh, you're gonna get the business. Let's hear it for the law of unintended consequences. I'll let you have the last word.
Also, even with the white farmers, man, they looked at the black farmers for so long. Oh, they look at them, they just over there begging. Man, now they begging. And so, hey, man, the heat is on, man. Do hide in the kitchen, you got to get up out of there, man. So, hey, I love it, man, because everybody's getting a taste of that pill. So, be one, Jason.
B1, thank you very much for giving us a call here tonight. Yeah, like I said, they thought Trump was going to get in office and he'll look out for the white farmers. He'll look out for us. It's like everybody going to say, wink, wink. We know what he's about. He going to look out for us. And it's like, nah, not you. Everybody is expendable except him. All the rest of you, oh no, you can go overboard. Whatever you don't get, you don't get it. All right, let me go ahead and jump back over here on Zoom again. We got Shakir here on Zoom. Shakir, what's on your mind?
I think Donald Trump is in violation of the Emoluments Clause. That's an impeachable offense. I also think that AIPAC should be reined in some kind of way. I think maybe as something there should be some sort of restrictions put on them in terms of financial aid they give to politicians. And lastly, I think, given the nature of things as the way they are unfolding in the Middle East, that all those Arab states surrounding Israel should gain nuclear capability with the ability to threaten a preemptive strike on Israel. And I bet you they would change their behavior overnight.
Well, definitely AIPAC should be subject to FARA. They really should. And the thing is, these other folks here, Jewish people, they went to work for the last 70 years to put all their interests in place. They did it meticulously. You didn't just wake up one day and there it is. So they've protected their interests, and AIPAC is a part of that. But yeah, they should be. They absolutely should be subject to FARA. They're not. But you got more people talking about it now. The problem is they're in the spotlight. You can get a whole lot done in the shadows, brother. The real problem is when folks start putting the spotlight on you. If you can move like you need to move and people are not saying your name and they don't have a spotlight on you and they're not doing stories about you, you can get a lot done. Once everybody is looking at you, it becomes a whole lot harder to move. And that's where they're stuck at right now. As far as the Middle East, yeah, nobody's stupid anymore. Everybody realizes America attacks anybody who ain't got nuclear weapons. If you have nuclear weapons, America's not going to try any preemptive stuff, much less colonizing. So all this really does is give people a tremendous incentive to try to get their hands on one, simply because that's the only thing that makes America back down. So you're absolutely right, but that's also why America tries to bomb the hell out of anybody who thinks about getting one. So it's not just that America disagrees with other countries having nuclear weapons, and they're liable to try to bomb you and kill everybody to prevent you from getting one. After all, we're the biggest gangsters here. We should be the only sanctioned gangsters in the room. So it's more like dealing with the mafia's commission than a, community of nations. I'll let you have the last word.
And as I said, Donald Trump is in violation, I do believe, of the Emoluments Clause. That's an impeachable offense. And he should, if you're saying that the knives are out, you're stabbing each other in the back, they should really put it to Trump. But I guess
But in any case, Trump is violating First Amendment, Second Amendment, Ninth Amendment. There isn't an amendment that he has not violated. Trump has violated everything. He is a moving violation. So, yes, he's violated everything across the board. But he's saying that, look, he's gangstering his way through it. What he's showing you all is what we said the whole time. The law is the law is whatever you can enforce. If the cop is the corrupt one, well, that's the law. The law is not what is written. The law is what is enforced. If you enforce it, that's the law. If no one enforces it, it's not a law. It's a suggestion. It's a notion, but it's not a law. All right, let's jump back over here on Zoom again. We got Timmy here on Zoom. Timmy, what's on your mind? Why are you giving me a bird's eye view? What are you trying to do, Timmy? Okay.
I'm not doing anything. I promise. I'm in the gym. I'm using the equipment, so I do apologize.
Okay.
But
she was giving me a bird's eye view or something, y'all. I'm just gonna leave that at that. What's on your mind, ma'am?
I didn't know.
I'm just no, man. Send that in the email.
I'm sorry.
Send that in the email. Don't do it here. Don't do it on Zoom in front of everybody.
Promise,
just send it in the email.
I promise I was not trying to do anything. I promise I wasn't. My thing was like minimized, so I didn't know how to.
She was like, "Is side chick season started yet?"
No.
That's what
I promise.
She's trying to get a leg up on side chick season, y'all. So it's.
I'm well behaved. I promise you.
Oh, I'm sorry. You can't. We don't have well behaved side chicks over here. Damn. So there goes your application. What's on your mind? Yeah, you screwed up right out the gate, baby. You already fumbled the ball right out the gate. So don't worry about it. What's on your mind?
Good evening. Yes. I want to speak on that. The Jewish woman who was running her mouth. Okay. So if you actually look at these, I call them Khazars, there's a lot of things wrong with what they practice. They don't even practice anything with the in the Bible. They go off the Talmudic law, where the Noahide law, right? So if you understand the Noahide law, they actually believe in beheading people who believe in Jesus. They also have a portion of their Bible where they justify raping kids, right? There's a part of the Bible that justify them that they can have intercourse with a child as young as 3 years old, right? These people, there's a thing where they have a program they have where if you're found guilty of raping a child in the United States, they can run back to Israel and be in the, what do you call it?
Yeah, I mean, Israel will give them asylum. So, I mean, if you're a Jewish person,
right.
We had a whole networks have done things about this where it's a well-known thing that pedophiles over here, they all of a sudden they want to be Israelis. Just as soon as it's time to indict them, all of a sudden they want to be Israelis. As far as the child thing is concerned, I mean, up there in New York is really a hotbed for it. It's not the only one, but I'm talking about New York State, people, not New York City, New York State, not just New York City. There's a whole bunch of things going on with the kids. I'm not even talking about those. They want to talk about Hamas and tunnels. What about the Hasidic Jews up there in New York and them tunnels?
In the tunnels.
What about that? So, I mean, are they upset or is it just jealousy? And so I wish I could tell you it was just one, but it's not. There's a number of enclaves where that thing goes on.
And they don't even get, what bothers me is they do a lot of things. You know, I was watching a documentary how they treated the blacks over there in Israel. They would spit, they would have riots and attack. They treat them worse than they treat the Muslims, okay? They have the worst justice, the worst human rights violations. Let me tell you something. They recently in Congo caught these Jewish merchants trying to kidnap fucking kids. I'm sorry, excuse my language. Kidnap children. And these Jews, or not even the true Jews of the Bible, these people are Khazars. They come from the Caucasoid Mountains, and the Ashkenazis are like Germanic people who came from the Caucasoid Mountains as well. How in the world are they biblical people? They are the ones who try to bring the Antichrist. They're the ones who are doing.
I think people are asking a lot more questions now. And
no, people know.
People
know.
Well, I mean, there are more people who talk about it. I think people are asking more questions that used to be considered forbidden or verboten. People are asking more questions now, and they're not holding this whatever this sacred idea is they had in their minds for the people who had that. You know, and a lot of folks who were condemning Minister Farrakhan are all of a sudden sounding a whole lot like him. And it's just like, wow, well, if he was on the right track all this time, maybe you all have a lot more to learn from him.
Owen.
But going forward, people have asked a lot more questions, and the rate at which it's going is okay. You know, don't expect things to change overnight, nor should it change overnight, because fads happen overnight. Long-term changes take time because people have made a well thought out decision. They've marinated in it. So that's what you really want it to be. But yes, a lot of these folks who are squealing and talking and whatnot, I mean, they're coming from communities where that's the thing. A lot of folks may not be aware of it if you're not in certain parts of the United States, but especially up in that New York area, you know, like I'm not going to get too far off in it. What I am going to say is that, well, okay, well, I'm not, no, I'm saying about New York, ma'am. Just curb your enthusiasm. Up there, I'm not going to go into too much detail about it because there's only so graphic I can be. But what I will say is, for those of you who know about it, about with the priests up there, I'm not talking about the Catholics now, but with the priests up there with the little children, they have, I mean, at first I thought this can't be real. But
no, it is.
I will say with the babies, when they circumcise them, and
so, oh my God,
and the governors of New York, both Pataki and Cuomo, they giving that a pass up there, y'all. That's not an urban myth. It's not an urban myth. It's not an urban legend. That's really a thing that really does happen, and it's happening right now.
Yeah, several babies had died of diseases when that happened as well. The baby, I believe,
I mean, they've gotten sick. Herpes. Well, some of them gotten sick, some of them have died, but I mean, that's the condoned practice up there, and we don't have a wide-ranging conversation. So maybe we can talk to Mark Levin and Laura Loomer, and maybe they can give us some details and let us know what we're missing. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. But yeah, just so y'all know, I can't go into tremendous detail there, but y'all got the point now. That's not an urban legend. It's not an urban myth. It's a real thing. It's been, they keep it hush on the news, but the governor has had to speak about it, about they ain't gonna do anything about it. So they're like, oh, religious exemption here. And I'm like, okay, if I show you a picture of what they're doing, I'm like, so that gets an exemption? Well, no wonder Jeffrey Epstein was like, hey, load up the plane. Jeffrey Epstein was like, wait a minute, the gals I'm dealing with is old. How y'all gonna put me in prison? Don't you see what the rabbis over here doing? The chicks I got is old compared to them. So Jeffrey Epstein is like, what do you mean there's a problem? What problem? Let me go ahead and jump back over here on Zoom again. All right, let's get Morpheus up here on Zoom. Morpheus, what's on your mind?
How are you doing, Jason? Great broadcast. I agree. Especially with the last call I was talking about with the small hats community. That's definitely going on. I mean, we saw Jeffrey Epstein, his Allen. I mean, they hide their stuff behind Judaism, but everything people accuse the Illuminati, that's basically what they're doing. Just how you was talking about those babies. They definitely do that. But back to your
the issue that we have is that these things that we object to, they'll be the first ones out there in public saying, oh no, this is terrible, this is bad. And there's, okay, so you want to do something about it. Next thing you know, people start passing around the bag to hush it up. So in front of the cameras, they'll cop to it and say, oh, that shouldn't be going on. As soon as you say, okay, here's what the legislature's going to do. As soon as the legislature starts talking about doing something, here comes a bag. Here comes Here comes a phone call. And then all of a sudden, okay, we need to tamp down on that. So we'll acknowledge it, but don't do anything.
Oh yeah, big fact. Especially that whole situation in New York, a year or two ago, when they're coming out the tunnels. That was crazy. If you look in the video, they had little kids' beds underneath the tunnels. What's up with that? And they look like had blood stains. That's crazy.
No, that they went ahead and did that like the Epstein thing. So you call that evidence? We see little kids' beds, and you call that evidence?
Exactly. But back to your topic about the betrayal, Trump. I'm gonna be honest with you. I voted for Trump, not because I believe in Trump. I actually was originally not going to vote at all, but I saw what the Democrats were doing to us as Black people with the immigrants and stuff like that. And if Kamala got in there, I felt like it was just going to be over. Because I look at both of them as two parties of white supremacy, but we just have to admit that the Democrat left-wing version is more sophisticated and it works. Look what it did to California. Look at our black people over there in California. I mean, you go all over the place. Compton is no longer black over there. And I saw that they were doing the same move to Chicago, the same move to New York, which I'm originally from. Even though I live in Florida, but I'm originally from New York. I saw the play. I see the play that they're doing over there in Chicago, and they're bringing in a whole bunch of Mexicans and a whole bunch of other hostile immigrants over there. And if Kamala got in office, it would have been overdrive. And I didn't fear Trump because I could see from his first term, and I see the right wingers, and you can look at them online. They turn on each other. So we don't really have to do anything. That's why I think spiritually we understand as black people collectively just to cool back. None of us is jumping out there, even though they want us to go out there. Something spiritually is telling us to cool back. And some of us understand that these people want to destroy themselves. We don't have to do nothing.
This is going to create a permanent rift in MAGA. They're not even going to have alliances. I want y'all to understand that. They're not even going to have alliances. Laura Loomer and the rest of them, it's never going to be the same. Just period. It's never going to be the same. That schism, this form with Candace Owens and whatnot, brother, their undoing was giving them power. That was their undoing. They wanted power, but they weren't actually ready for it. They have alliances, but they don't have comrades. So their alliances to whatever their interest is in the moment, but they don't have allegiance to anyone. Well, without that component, if you don't have allegiances, then you don't have betrayal either. Let me say that again, folks. If a person doesn't have allegiance to you, then they can't betray you. If Walmart is not betraying you by raising the prices the next time you come in there. They don't have allegiance to you. People who do have allegiance to you, you can say they betrayed you. So that's the way these folk get down. White supremacy is about, I'm white and I say so. What happens when I'm white and you start practicing on white and I say so with other white people? What you said to them last week, they came back this week and now you're changing it. But your mentality is, well, I'm white and I say so. Well, their mentality is, well, I'm white and I say so. Oh, man, the only way this can end is fisticuffs. That's the only way this can end. And now folks are angry and upset. I'm just telling you right now, you're not going to walk that backwards. You are not going to walk this backwards. When this is over, you will have a very splintered organism. Donald Trump was always a wacky character that really didn't have a core. And because of that, you don't know what to really take seriously and what really not to take seriously because you don't think he actually has any core beliefs. So that's why it's so easy for folks to dismiss and ignore things because you don't really think he has any core beliefs. J.D. Vance is different. Ron DeSantis is different. Nikki Haley is different. When they say that mess, folk believe they really mean that. In Donald Trump's case, that's why he can be sitting there with Netanyahu one day and then sitting with the Qataris the next because everybody knows that's the way he is. So the Arabs don't take offense when he's talking to Israel, and Israel can't really take offense when he's talking to the Arabs because everybody knows that's how he does. His allegiance is to himself. And you don't really believe him in the first place. What about these other people? Well, you're going to take it a lot more personally when they do that. And that's why I'm saying, Ron DeSantis, you're done. You've been done. I told all of y'all he thought he was running for president. He really wasn't. Nikki Haley, please. And after this, Marjorie Taylor Greene, I think she's one to watch just to see. I think she's going to take a faction of folk with her. She's probably going to have to link up with Massey and Rand Paul. She's probably going to have to link up with them. But what do you do next? I think you're going to just have this whole big mishmash of interests, but that they will not be strong enough to get anything done. And, by the way, there's a good number of Republicans who that's exactly what they want. What? Oh, folks, the establishment, this is what they wanted. They were never going to fight Trump head up. That was a losing proposition. Trump called them the swamp. Okay, well, the swamp thing is rising up out the swamp again. So John Thune, John Cornyn, are the establishment Republicans. They are happy to give Trump whatever he wants so that it implodes as quickly as it can so that he loses influence as quickly as it can happen. And the only thing that can happen is they're back in charge again. Just like 2020, they're back in charge again. So they're going to feed the beast till it gets fat and obese, and it's on its way there now. And then when he's run out of steam, they just get to step back in again.
Yeah, I agree with that. But I do see an opportunity for us to either, as Black people or financial Black Americans, to either take over the Democratic Party, or I like to think if we have both wings on there, taking a cue out of the Jewish people's books, being on both parties. So no matter what party wins, our interests get fed. What do you think about that?
We are not at the stage to be able to implement the Jewish model, if you will, because the Jewish model comes with a bunch of money. So it's not just a bunch of Jewish people rah-rahing and yelling for their interests. Larry Ellison just bought Paramount, CBS, and is trying to buy Warner, and they went and bought, or the government gave them TikTok. So they're not just people running around with a bunch of demands. They got resources behind them, and a lot of it, which was the lesson that they learned after World War II. So we don't. It would be very, very nice if we could, but at scale, that's not something we can replicate. Which is why everybody wants to make sure we stay broke, because they know if we ever got to that point, hell yeah, that's the first order of business. So that's not what will work for you. What does work for us, though, is understanding where our strength is, and our strength is as the swing vote. That is where our strength is. We can't move the needle 10 points, but then again, that's okay. We only need to move it 1 or 2. That's what happened to Kamala Harris. A loss of 1 or 2 points, and she found out how devastating that is, which is exactly what we did. A rerun of 2016. Should have happened in 2020, but a rerun of 2016. And yeah, that's where our influence is to say, okay, everybody here who's still trying to hold on to the strategy of give us nothing and we'll vote, and we'll bring you down too. And you can say hello to President J.D. Vance. So that 1 or 2 percentage point, that's where our influence is.
Yeah, I agree. I was trying to say, could we leverage that? Like, for example, with Pennsylvania, everyone kept saying, if what's her name wants Pennsylvania, she would have been better. But if you look, with the Black areas, they didn't really turn out. That's why she lost. So could we do that by showing?
Yes, we are. That's the whole point of the 2024 election. 2016 showed you that we did it once. 2020, Trump was so damn bad that he snatched defeat from the jaws of victory. 2024, we showed folks were serious about it. So that's why I've been telling you all these articles since the election. I mean, they're saying that. They've been talking about the Black vote, particularly the Black male vote, that yes, this wasn't, our job now is to show them that wasn't a fluke. So when you look at 2026 and 2028, I'm telling y'all, one presidential election is not going to break them of their stubbornness. One midterm is not going to break them. They have some back-to-back losses. That's what will bust them in the back of the head and finally get them to take it seriously that this isn't a fluke. Because right now, brother, their strategy is to wait us out. They know we meant what we did in 2024, but they think that 2020 is the solution. Well, if we just, okay, they blow off some steam, but, we're backing out. Let them blow off some steam, and we'll come back, and we'll wait them out. They'll get tired of Trump, and then we won't have to change anything, and they'll just support us because he's so bad. And our goal is to show them that, no, that's not a fluke. And no, we are not going to support, no matter what Trump does, we're not going to support you until you bring us what we said. Because it's not because they didn't hear us. They heard us. They figured they're going to wait us out. Right now, we need to show them that there is no waiting us out, and we're just going to do this all over again in 2026 and 2028 and 2030. We can just keep doing this all over again.
I agree that we need to have reparations at the forefront, but I also think we should add on.
Okay, brother, here's my thing right here. I'm going to let you finish, but I need to interrupt that right quick. When's the last time you all heard me talk about reparations? Damn! I hate to have to do this in the open, but clearly people aren't listening. Clearly, they're not listening. So that's why I'm stopping you now, brother. Y'all clearly have not been listening. People, the word's tangibles. The word's tangible, the word's resources. We know what reparations is. We have to be able to pivot on these things. So that's why I said after the election, I said I want us to stop saying the word reparations, not because we're giving up on reparations, but because as a useful angle of communication. Reparations is a high-profile thing now. How do you stop them from weaponizing it? By no longer giving it to them. So we know what reparations is. Reparations is tangibles. So, brother, we can get just like you want to talk about Jewish people, they get everything they want without you saying the word Jewish once. We need to prioritize getting what we want without ever having to say what that word is.
I got you.
Because that's what gives them their attack vector. That's why they seized on DEI. We were never using that term, but they grabbed it and started blowing it up because it gave them something to attack. So you want to disarm them, take away what they have to attack. There's nothing wrong with us demanding tangibles. There's nothing wrong with us demanding resources. Getting everyone on the same page was getting them on the same page about what the tangibles are. That is not just a word. What the tangibles actually are. That's what we need to get everybody on code about. So that when you say tangibles, you don't mean education or scholarship or a voting plaza or a food bank. That's not tangibles. So that was the correction we were trying to make. And for the most part, we've really made a lot of progress in correcting that in the vocabulary and the vernacular. Now folk know what that means. So when you come to them with something else, they're like, nah, that's not what I'm talking about, partner. I'm talking about something else. I'm talking about tangibles. So the details were what needed to be fleshed out. That's been fleshed out. At this point now, if they want to weaponize that kind of thing or make it a high profile target, let me take that away from you right quick. Anybody saying about reparations? We didn't say no reparations. But that's y'all looking at them in Oklahoma. Well, you owe that to them, so they're owed tangibles on account of what y'all did in Tulsa, Oklahoma. They're owed that. And in California, they're owed that for Bruce's Beach. They're owed that. Folks are upset about 2025. It's Project 2025. I'm like, okay, they're white supremacists there. I'll be damned. What did Trump say when he was running for office? I don't know nothing about no 2025. I don't know the Project 2025. I don't know these people on Project 2025. I don't support this Project 2025. I don't want nothing to do with Project 2025. What did he say just last week? Take a look at my man over here from Project 2025. Come on now, my people are sitting up here. I don't know what they thinking. We got to tell everybody every damn thing we know. We can't pivot. It takes too damn long for folks to latch on. When Lee Atwater talked about changing up the language and the vernacular, what he meant was everybody already knows what we're after. When we say education, when we say taxes, we all mean white supremacy. And you have an adept people when you can move like that. But when you got to spell out everything, that's a problem. When you can't just change the label, it's the same jar. It's the same thing in the same jar. You got to be able to change the label when it's necessary. If we got a situation where everybody else can change the label on the jar, we got to sit up here and just carry the same jar around. You're never going to get anywhere because they're like, okay, well, they're going to just keep doing the same thing. Remember what makes you defeatable in war: predictability. If people know exactly what you're going to do. Well, you know them Negroes, they never change their labels. They don't ever do anything. They'll start arguing with each other about changing the label. So don't worry about it. So our thing right now, I want y'all to understand here, you don't hear me use the word reparations. Why? Because I've given up on it? Hell no. I'm against it? Hell nigga no. But going forward, I'm like, when I go talk to people, I have no problem behind closed doors. I don't care what you call it. I don't care what label you give it. You give it whatever label you, Mr. Politician, that you think is most palatable to your voters. But this is what I came for. And we're not going to support you without it. That's the way you move.
No, you're right, because all these other groups, they do change their labels. You're right about that. My bad.
The LGBT can't quit changing labels. They're going to have the whole damn alphabet in there in a minute.
You're right about that. My point was that, of course, we should get tangibles. That's number one. I was saying, I think personally, we should add immigration on there, like a stricter immigration, because it seems like the Democrats are trying to weaponize that against us. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, that right there as well. Let them know this is not in our interests. And you're not going to sell this to us as if it's in our interests. But first and foremost, you're doing that so you can start handing tangibles to other people. Part of those tangibles are giving preferential treatment. So no, we're not supporting any of that. We are at the front of the queue. It's time for us to get priority. And if we don't get priority, then you don't even get noticed by us.
Yeah.
And we're not taking any more excuses and jive talk. You know where we at. If you know where to find us when it's time to vote, then you know what you should have been doing for the last 4 years. You have nothing to hang your hat on. So we're not taking any more crosstalk or side language or indirect speech. You need to talk to us directly if you want us to vote for you directly.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I agree because and I agree with your point saying that, maybe it might take another election for Democrats to lose again, because I do feel that they would definitely try to bum rush us with immigrants to really finish us off. And I think they need another butt kicking out. I can't have these conversations with my family because, they're super Democrats. I'm very pragmatic. They just can't understand. But I mean, I agree with you. I think they do need another butt kicking. I don't think they
No,
get.
if they fall on their faces, particularly in 2028, that's the one to look for in particular. That will show them it's not a fluke. So that's the real thing you're looking for, is to show them that it's not a fluke. 2026 will be important, of course, because if you flip the House and the Senate, that would be not pleasing. That will just embolden the Democrats to be like, okay, damn them niggas, we don't need the presidency. We'll just hold the House and the Senate. And so remember what their strategy is. Their strategy is to wait us out. Stall, and wait us out. And hope we just finally get tired and give up and just accept the crumbs getting flicked off the table again.
Can I propose to see if they're doing right? Is looking at California. If they pass tangibles in California, then we'll move, because they have a supermajority there. There's no reason why.
Here's my thing about it here, brother. I'm not even. I need y'all to understand how progress works. So passing things is not the preeminent step at this juncture for me. The conversation is. This should be a mainstream conversation. You're never going to get to the passage of anything if folks sit up here and try to act like this stuff is taboo or something. We show up and all of a sudden things are taboo. It's like, no. This is a long overdue thing that should have been taken care of decades ago. This is the preeminent thing. Y'all use freeways to demolish us just like everybody else. Y'all use all these same tactics. Bruce's Beach is a symbol. It's not an outlier. So there needs to be an open conversation in the legislature, at the city level, county level, state level. There needs to be an open conversation. This is not taboo. This is the issue. And that there is nothing forbidden or taboo about discussing tangibles specifically for the descendants of American slaves. This is no longer a taboo conversation. This is the conversation. Without you even passing anything. By the way, you don't even have to have passed anything for that to occur, because that's really the most important step. The most important step that it now in the society socially and socializing, now socially it is accepted as this is a truth. That in your daily conversations, this is accepted as this is the truth. It's not controversial. There is no debate about it, but this is an open conversation that this is the truth. From there, the only thing we're discussing is how we will implement it. How much we gonna do. But we're no longer arguing over whether this is legitimate discourse.
Yeah, I definitely see your point, because, they made moves with immigration without passing laws. So you're right about that.
Well, I mean, I go back to the gay thing. Remember, California rejected gay marriage. It was the courts that had to push that through, but they just keep talking about being gay all the time because the people voted against it and the court said, damn a vote. So that's the kind of thing you have to watch out for there. Now, the problem is that the constituencies didn't start voting the folk out of office. If they had done that, then that might be a little bit different. But this is a conversation that is not weird. It's not an outlier. And we're not going to allow them to sit up and say it is. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. We appreciate that. Yeah, there's the real thing right there, folks. I'm like, yeah, you want to get things done. Absolutely. You want to get legislation. You want to get stuff passed. But I want you to start where the thing really begins. The real starting point is going to be, again, at conversation, the social level. This is not controversial. It's not taboo. It's not weird. It's not wacky. It's not way out. That this is not an open secret. That it's open dialogue, because this is accepted as a mathematical, numerical fact and a fundamental truth. that the descendants of American slaves, the only solution is tangibles. Cash, money, value, tangibles. And that the only thing we will discuss is how we will distribute and disseminate it, but not whether it should be done. The discussion will not be about should it happen. The discussion will only be how it will happen, not should it be. This is not radical thought and radical agenda and radical thing. There's nothing radical about this. This is just the given, dude. Everybody knows this is what's got to be done. It's just got to be done. You have your MAGA morons over there wigging out, but it's like, man, look, everybody knows it's got to be done. So it's nothing controversial about this, man. It's 2 + 2 = 4. All we're talking about now is how we're going to get it done. And then after that, you can move on. If you really want to move on, go ahead and get this done, and then we can move on to the next issue. But we're not going to pretend any longer like this is not the issue to get done. You got contracts, you got state contracts, city contracts, you got money floating around, you have venture capital doing every damn thing but investing where it needs to be most, because we're the folks that are victimizing all these data centers that they're building. And curiously enough, especially in the Deep South, in Memphis and Louisiana places, they put them in places where black folk are. What? Same old game. These data centers that they're putting out all these money for these people for, billions of dollars, and the federal government's in on it, and then they're building them where black folk are. They're bright, they're noisy. But as usual, they're plunking them down right where we at. That's not accidental. Shouldn't we be getting about 10-20% of that revenue? So just understand, I want it to be where there's nothing radical about this. This is a regular conversation. If you get a piece of the oil money in Alaska, why the hell is we not getting a piece of that data center money? Why are we not getting a piece of that? So, folks, this will probably go down as the week that Trump officially double-crossed MAGA. It's going to be rough on them because he's going to just tell them, hell, where the hell y'all going to go? Where you going? See, that's how he played the game smooth. He played the game smooth like that. He brought them in. He suckered them all in. He got them to give him their undying fealty and allegiance. He made sure that they made adversaries of literally everybody else around them. Laura Loomer is a pariah to everyone else around her. She can't turn on Trump now. Trump just would sit there by the front door while she pretends she's storming out. Heifer, where you going? Where you gonna go? You've made enemies of everybody outside this door. Who you fooling? Where you think you going? Who's gonna take you in? Everywhere you could go is somebody that you were attacking right up until 3 days ago. Where are you going? Who's going to put their neck on the line for you? Where are you going, Ben Shapiro? Speaking of Ben Shapiro, by the way, I got something on the screen here to show you all that I think will be rather amusing for you here. Old Ben Shapiro tried his luck at boxing here years ago.
Look, everything's corrupt, but here's a video of Ben Shapiro knocking himself out with a punching bag in law school. Enjoy it.
Think you're better than me, Paul? They think you're hanging here all day, you're higher than me, you're better than me? Yeah, well, I gotta miss you. You're not. I'm a body. I can think. Yeah, you're not better than me at all. Yeah, I'll teach you.
If you are somebody who listens to him doing his tough talk as if he gonna bust a grape, as if he's gonna lead any hostilities anywhere, you's a fool. That's your field commander, Ben Shapiro, demonstrating his warrior instincts. Okay, let me go ahead and throw this up here right quick. It's not audio. It is not audio. All right, we're going to have an encore presentation.
Hey, life's a joke, everything's corrupt, but here's a video of Ben Shapiro knocking himself out with a punching bag in law school. Enjoy it.
Think you're better than me, Paul? Do you think it's because you're hanging here all day, you're higher than me, you're better than me? Yeah, well, I gotta miss you. You're not. I'm a body. I can think. Yeah, you are not better than me at all. Yeah, I'll teach you.
Life's a joke, everything's corrupt, but
Yeah, I don't think he was ready for that punching bag to come back like that. I think he was ready to punch it. I don't think he was ready for it to bust his face open. So I don't think that's what I'm pretty sure he meant to hit it one time. Yeah, I don't think he was looking for that bag to pop back and pop his face open. Now that he wasn't looking for. So ladies and gentlemen, that was Iron Mike Shapiro. What? And that was Benjamin Iron Mike Shapiro showing you his warrior instinct and battle prowess. So ain't gonna be no Negroes running up on him. He's ready for the revolution. Please understand, he's ready for the revolution.
Better than me, Paul? Do you think it's because you're hanging here all day, you're higher than me, you're better than me? Yeah, well, I gotta miss you. You're not. I'm a body. I can think. Yeah, you are not better than me at all. Yeah, I'll teach you.
Yeah, I don't think he was quite ready for that right there. So next time he comes out, talk. If you want to know why it is that the best he can do is go around and try to egg up other white supremacists to attack or ambush some lone black child somewhere, this is why. You want to know why he's going to just try to egg on another white supremacist to attack somebody's child? He ain't going to do a damn thing. Hell, he can't do a damn thing. Not only won't he do anything, he can't do anything. Could you all imagine him in anything resembling anything worse than a food fight, and he'll lose that too. The white supremacists are smarmy, they're scared, they're sleazy, they're weak, they're pathetic. It's their place in life. And it's our job to make sure for the good of mankind that they remain there. We're going to go ahead and wrap things up here tonight. If you are new here to the Black Channel, welcome to the haven of intelligent Black thought. We do this every weekend, holidays, some days in between. If you have enjoyed what you've heard here tonight, if we've earned it, click that subscribe button and then click that yellow notification bell. But especially click that subscribe button if we've earned that. And if we haven't, come back here next week. We'll go ahead and do it all over again. We'll check in with you then as well. If you haven't been to our website, blackchannelfilms.com, check out our groundbreaking best-selling documentary work. Blackchannelfilms.com, that is blackchannelfilms.com. I'd like to thank all of you for tuning in to tonight's program, live or recorded. Thank you for liking, subscribing, and sharing. And this concludes tonight's broadcast of the Black Channel. I am your host, your brother, your humble servant, the Black Authority. And until next time, my brothers and my sisters from around the world, remember, Black is the future, and the future is uncompromising.